Hey Jabbers, welcome back to another episode. Today we have a guest who is it's going to be a really fascinating topic because I've been wanting to pick her brain about this personally. But we have Mycah Bain here from Mycah Bain Photography, and we are going to be chatting all about kind of brand photography. Wait, pause. No, we're not talking about brand photography. Are we not talking about overseas
We're
employees?
also talking about that. I think this is what we had talked about initially. Sorry.
Oh,
Like a mixture of like brand photography and then running a team overseas.
both. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Redo. Um, Hey Jobbers, welcome back to another episode. Today we have Mycah Bain on our podcast, and we're so excited because we're going to be diving into two topics that are very relevant to her and that I am actually fascinated about. So we're going to be chatting all about brand photography and kind of telling your unique story and diving into what also it looks like running a team that's overseas, and that's what I'm like very excited to chat about. But first, let me introduce you to our guest. Mycah is a seasoned photographer with over 15 years of experience running and thriving six-figure business and leading a team of 10. She's passionate about helping business owners elevate their brand through powerful visuals. Mycah is ready to share why business and brand photos are essential for success and how transforming your visuals can take your business to the next level. Mycah offers a chance to delve into specific aspects of the business, offering practical advice, inspiration, and tangible takeaways that will elevate listener skills and empower them to take their business to new heights. Mycah draws from her own journey as she explores a wide range of topics to help you navigate the intricacies of entrepreneurship. Mycah, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited.
No, this is going to be a really interesting chat. Obviously, brand stuff we always talk about. I feel like Kari and I talk about this stuff all the time, but the overseas employees is untouched territory for us.
All right. I love it.
um, Mycah, have you always done brand photography or did you start off in like weddings or has it always been this like more specific niche?
Yeah, it has definitely ebbed and flowed over the years. I started more as like a travel photographer, then did weddings, then added on families and portraits, added on brands, and then over the last couple of years, I've transitioned where my team takes now all the weddings, all the families and portraits, and then my team and I together do the businesses and brands. So it's been a very fun evolution and constantly changing.
Yeah, that's so fun. So, in terms of branding for wedding pros, which is most of our listeners, it's a lot of wedding planners, but a good majority of just like wedding pros in general, who feel like their brand is fine, but might be a little like forgettable. Where do you actually start when it comes to visually telling a more distinct story through photos? Like, I'm sure a lot of people come to you and they're like, I need an upgrade in my brand, storytelling.
Yeah. I love to think about kind of a mixture of like who you are professionally and who are you serving. So like what types of weddings, because that obviously like needs to come through visually and brand wise. Because if you're doing country club versus beach destination versus like off the grid versus, whatever else, that obviously is going to have a different vibe. And then I think along with that, adding in those personal elements is just fun and exciting because when like imagine you're a couple shopping around and you're trying to find someone to connect with on your wedding day. Yeah, obviously you want to see that they do good work, but people make decisions over sometimes like the craziest things. They'll be like, oh my gosh, I also have a cat named Pickles, this is a sign book. So it's like that's so random, but also I don't know. I think those are the things that people really kind of like lean into and like why they make decisions. So I think bringing a mixture of like who you are professionally versus who you are personally is totally key.
And are you
That,
put?
oh,
Oh,
go
go
ahead.
ahead.
I was just gonna say you saying like a cat named Pickles. I remember specifically a potential client. We ended up working together, but he was like really funny. He's in the entertainment industry, but he brought up like how I had mentioned like three different food elements on my website, like donuts and like pizza. And like that's what we dove into on the call. He was like, "What's your favorite donut?" And like it was just like good banter, and I feel like they loved that connection and was like
Totally.
part of the reason why they booked because they're like, she's fun, and like I love that she loves to try different foods. So I feel like that it is totally like random elements that helps you connect on a call.
Yeah, because also everyone makes a decision in like a totally different way. So you really want to think about like what, you know, put yourself like in the shoes of like a potential couple and think what that's actually going to look like.
Yeah.
Because are those being shared on stories only, or are you also sharing the personal stuff on your grid? And I know that sounds silly to ask, but it's like we've had so many of these conversations of getting like that. Instagram is is a portfolio for a lot of people, and so are you telling the personal facts in the caption that's relevant to the photo, or is it just a beautiful photo of a wedding and then you're talking about a personal thing about your cat named Pickles?
Totally. I mean, I think it can be done a lot of different ways. Like, I think showing it like on your website and also your grid, and then also the stories, like, you know, depending on what it is, it could be literally showing, like, for example, I love like a handmade ceramic mug. So that would kind of make sense to have in a brand photos. But then I also really like to travel. So that might not necessarily be like physically in a brand photo, but there could be a photo that you're going to like mention, or even like a ring where I might not say, "Oh, I got this ring in Mexico City," but it's just like adding some kind of interest. Or I could tell a story about, "Oh, I was able to go to Mexico City and da 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 da, do all these things, and then also grab this ring because I thought it was fun and funky." So I think how people bring it about is kind of like a wide variety of different approaches. But yeah, I think there's a lot of options there.
So you're saying you don't necessarily have to Photoshop your cat Pickles in every photo.
No, no. Okay, also this is insane. I need 30 seconds to get this person at the door who is an hour late.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
very annoyed.
Yeah, no.
go ahead. Well, this is a good time to go through the questions with that in.
Hi.
Sorry for inconvenience.
Yeah.
We left the laundry.
Okay. Yeah, it's 45 minutes after, but I'm gonna unlock it really quick because the code is expired. So if you just grab all your stuff, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We did. We left.
But
I'm so sorry.
okay.
I left something.
Okay. Okay, it will be open for 2 minutes. Okay, thank you.
Wait, what? Who? What was that?
Well, this is the joy of running two businesses. I have an Airbnb in my basement, and the guest just came back over an hour later and was like, "I left something." I'm like,
Oh, like after they checked out?
yes, yeah. So,
Oh, okay.
pro tip, maybe don't. Maybe don't run an Airbnb out of your basement. That's my pro tip for the day.
Dang, no kidding. That's tough. That's okay.
No, it's 95% mostly fine.
Okay, well, that's pretty. The odds
Yeah,
are
yeah.
pretty good then.
Yeah.
Okay. So I just talked about Pickles, and then you were saying some. Oh, maybe.
You said you don't have to Photoshop your cat into every photo.
No, and I think the photos can partially tell a story through like location, colors, props, like all of these different visual elements. But then I think also thinking about like the variety of photos that you want to kind of like show, where maybe sometimes it's like the person, the person's on one side and there's text off to the off to the side, like utilizing like the blank space in both, website and then also socials. Because I think really the goal when you're creating brand photos and videos is to think of like, okay, what are all the things that you're for sure gonna need? So maybe you have a specific thing, or you're like, oh, I have a launch and I know I for sure want something of me doing XYZ. But then also your photographer should be able to like bring more ideas to the table to be like, all right, based on my experience, I typically see people also wanting these types of photos. And when I bring that up to clients, like, oh, I wouldn't have thought about it. I'm like, yeah, that's why you want to work with someone who's like understanding your vision and has like the expertise in being able to kind of like bring the full picture to the table,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so like, okay, if a wedding pro is listening to this and they're like, okay, I get it, but I don't find myself to be naturally creative, or I don't even like to put my face in, right? Like we hear about that a lot.
Totally.
What are maybe a few ways, other than gently encouraging them to still show up on camera, maybe what are a few ways that they can show their personality in their photos, kind of, so like going off of what you just said, maybe there is, okay, their hand with this beautiful ring that they just got in Mexico, that's a photo of it with some blank space on the side and saying something there, right? Or can it be all in the caption, where that's more where they're better writers than they are creative, like aesthetically?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. And I think like really thinking about that kind of comes back to like who you are and where you excel. Like I'm not a writer. I'm more of a visual person. So that makes sense to lean into, the photos. But some people, if you're an excellent writer, like then you might benefit from images where you can put text on top of those and make like a sliding carousel post, where you're like leaning into your skill set as a writer, but you're still having something that has like a bit more of a visual element instead of just like a whole text block. So then you might want more photos that are, sometimes I call them like custom stock photos, where it's like, okay, we all have seen a literal stock photo, like not very engaging in my opinion, but like you could, especially for planners, hopefully, I don't know how often photographers are actually kind of coming through and sharing photos of like the events that you photographed, but in theory, you ideally have photos of like your work in action, and you can like put text on top of that. So I think there's like a lot of ways to take it, and there's definitely not one right direction. I think the only wrong direction is doing nothing.
That's
Good
fair.
point.
I feel like as
Totally. Yeah. Is my earring clicking? Okay. Oh no.
I still see the little red button or red dot. Weird.
No, you're good. You're good.
I know. The most Monday of Mondays. Mycah, ever since you told me about Whisper Flow, I'm obsessed.
Okay, good. I am an absolute menace. Like I'm just like always in my office, like I'm a little like
Yeah.
like not using my hands, just like talking to the computer.
Yeah, I'm just pressing the button.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
ended up having to upgrade to the paid plan because I was using it so much.
yeah. I did too, but it's such a like it
Oh
saves
yeah.
so much time. I feel like I can answer my emails in 2 seconds.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. So everyone get Whisperflow.
Yeah. Do you think it's worth stopping this one officially and restarting one just and then we piece them together, or is that too complicated? Oh yeah,
Oh,
you're right. Your dot isn't there anymore. Okay.
come on,
Weird.
technology, you can do it.
Yeah. Count your days, Riverside. How weird.
Count your days.
I mean, we pay for it because we were editing on Audacity, which is like such an old program. Like it's very archaic. It's like
Hmm.
you have to like download the physical thing to the desktop.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, this is just a time saver once we get down to it because you can auto remove all the words like and stuff like that.
Oh, okay, good, because that has been one of my current personal goals is to calm it down with that word
Oh,
because
it's hard.
it's
It's
so
just
hard.
everyday lingo.
I know, I know.
It's tough.
How are your weddings looking this year? Do you have any that you're particularly jazzed about?
Trying to think. Well, see, what happened is I had a lead planner that I trained and she left before the season
Oh,
started.
dang it.
And so it has dumped like this huge workload on me. A
Oof.
lot of them are wedding management clients, so they're at least I can do them with my eyes closed type of thing. But so yeah, I'm not super jazzed about this season, but I do have a few sprinkled in. I actually have one in September that I'm really excited about that we're doing a flip into kind of a speakeasy space while they're out dancing, and there'll be just like word of mouth. People can come up and there'll be a little
Cool.
martini bar and stuff like
That is
that.
so cool.
Yeah, I'm excited about that one. No international or anything. I'll be in Colorado at the end of June, but otherwise I'm mostly in Tennessee, which is kind of nice because
Yeah.
I'll be in East Tennessee, so I do have to stay, like get hotels.
Yeah.
But it'll be nice to not have to fly so much this
Yeah.
year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel that.
Do you have some good brands you're working on?
Let's see. I just delivered a project a couple of days ago that I was super excited about. It was for a local, like, kind of holistic doctor office, like integrative health. So that was a really, really fun project.
Nice. Oh, that's
Yeah.
cool. That's
hmm
different.
Yeah. So it's been a
Ooh,
lot of fun.
fun. Oh, good. Carrie, your red
Hey,
button's
this
back.
will be a fun YouTube video. Okay.
Yeah. Hope you're still with us, guys. Okay. So let me just repeat that question, Mycah, and then we can go back through it. Okay, so Mycah, I am also thinking about wedding pros who are feeling like they're maybe not as creative and oh, yeah, weird.
Riverside's being a hater.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, it always does it to Carrie. I don't know why.
Are you
Um,
coming to the tag event is it in Minneapolis next month?
July. Yeah. Yeah,
Okay,
are you coming
cool.
as a guest?
I think Ashley and I talked about it, so I need to check in with her about the actual. We had talked
Yeah.
about the vibes, but I'm like, I should probably get some dates down. Because
Yeah,
yeah, it'd be fun to see you and everyone else.
I know. I know. I think we have a good group. I'm not super active in the main channel on Voxer because it's so much and that is
Yeah,
my brain every day anyway. So I was like,
yeah,
I need less of that.
yeah, for sure.
But I do love the in-person stuff and
Yeah.
I'm actually working with Emily Foster right now on a new brand
Ooh,
that I've thought about rebranding because we can events, but I'm ready for a new name. I'm ready for just a very different experience, less adventurous, more high touch, but hospitality driven,
mm,
smaller guest counts. And I was like, you know what? I think I just want to start fresh with all of it. So she's working on a website for me. I don't know the name yet, so we're still working on that. And I'll keep Because We Can events for now just because it's on preferred lists and I'll kind of funnel in some, maybe it'll be my mid-tier brand and then I'll have this kind of upper tier brand.
yeah,
And I want to do more brand events that are high touch and stuff like
cool.
that. So yeah, I'm
That's
excited
exciting.
to do that a little bit.
Yeah, she's good. I had her do a website audit for me maybe like the end of the year because
Oh,
I was
nice.
like, I like my website. I don't need a new one, but I just want to make sure like, is it doing what I think it's doing?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was helpful.
Yeah. No, that's great. Yeah, it feels good. But then I also tend to get myself in these like too many projects happening at once. So I have to be careful
I
that I
feel you
focus
there.
on that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I know. I don't want to have all offline conversations because I'm excited about your overseas team. Um, but and I'll probably ask this later, but I'm having a hard time with finding someone to be almost like an office manager or a project manager where I don't even know how to train them in that sense, you know? Like do you have people that is your team mostly editing like one specialty?
I have it set up where there's a variety of people. I wouldn't say I have anyone who's like a office manager, but I do have someone who's like more of, an executive assistant, like right hand.
Yeah,
I guess
that would be
maybe
probably
you
it.
could say that yeah, because she is like balancing a wide variety of projects. I would say having a job description, wait, do you have someone that's already hired or are you looking for someone?
Uh, the person I have is more. She's kind of yeah. I guess she could. She is kind of that role right now because she's the only person I have, and I'm trying to have her do everything. And that's the problem too. Is like I try to have her also do a little bit of social media, and maybe I need to separate that so that she focuses on stuff. But she's onboarding my clients. The problem is I still end up having to double check her work because things get missed.
Sure.
And I need someone who has it so perfectly handled that I do not need to spend brain
Yeah.
time checking that, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I do think your idea of having a separate marketing person would probably be a good move. That's what I
Yeah.
moved towards after a while of having one person kind of be my right hand for everything. Because it was like, this is just too much bouncing around. Because I mean, I think we have a lot of similarities kind of work style wise where we're like wanting to do a bunch of things and we are
Yes.
starting them all at once and then also want to like go really fast. So
Yeah.
sometimes it's frustrating. I'm like, stop asking me so many questions, just do it, you know?
Totally. Yeah, no, that's what it is. And I also like, um, I know they want a lot of hours, obviously, like the more hours possible. But I have to make sure that I'm not trying to give them things that don't fit what they're capable of doing just to give them more hours, you know?
Sure, sure. Yeah, I have for most of my people are like a set number of hours per week, which I like because it's just like these are the and then we have like a mixture of, you know, like kind of one-time project specific things, daily, weekly, monthly, annual, like quarterly, annually.
Okay.
So we have some weeks that may be a little slower. So it's like, all right, well, look ahead and see what are the monthly projects and start doing
Yeah,
that, you know?
cool. That's good.
Because I think a lot of times people are like, oh, I don't have enough work for someone to do. I'm like, there's no way that's true. Like,
No, there's no way.
yeah,
Yeah, and the delegation piece is really tough too because it takes time
yes,
to teach someone to do
yep,
it right. And
definitely.
that I think is what holds a lot of us back.
Yes, yeah.
Well, Kari, if for some reason it doesn't work, Mike and I already talked about overseas teams.
I don't know like what is going on. Oh my gosh. Okay, well, let's just talk and I'll see.
We'll, yeah, we'll keep going.
It like
No, but we were just kind of like chit chatting
okay.
offline, but
I was like it
recording.
keeps
So, okay.
saying there's like an issue. I don't anyway.
I mean, I see the red dot
Okay.
still.
Well, let's chat before it goes away.
Okay. Okay, I'll go back to the other question. Okay, so Mycah, let's say, for example, some of our listeners are tuning in and they are like, I'm just not a creative person. I don't want to show my face, or I don't know how. I'm awkward. I don't know what to do. How, I guess, can they still show up and show their personality on their Instagram grid? I keep using Instagram just, I think, because everybody has it. But how can they do that without necessarily showing themselves?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is you can still record a story without your face. Like I just filmed one before this because I'm growing a garden. I'm very excited. So I just filmed 45 seconds of me talking about my garden. So like my hands in there, but so, and you can like, so to me, that's not really extremely related to my brand per se, but I work with a lot of like wellness adjacent clients. So like nature, food that's nourishing, etc. I think it is kind of connected, but I agree because it is pretty vulnerable to get your face in front of the camera. So you don't have to do that every day. I think that's way too much pressure and also not realistic. I think it's a pretty rare person who feels good about doing that all the time. So I would say, thinking again to wedding planners, why not film like or have someone on your team or hire someone like film a room reveal and you could just be talking, oh, we did this kind of tablescape because of this. We wanted to draw in these colors. So you're just kind of like filming with one hand and like maybe you can see your hand pointing in the other, or you're just like panning towards, oh, and we went with this cake because it's her grandmother's recipe, or I don't know, making up random things. You can get some of your personality through talking. So that would be one way. You could, again, we were talking about people who are excellent writers. Again, with that idea of kind of the custom stock photos and putting your own words on top of those, making a sliding carousel post. you could do the same kind of thing for stories, or even if we're thinking again to brand photos, like your face does not need to be in every single one of these photos. Like this is not senior photos in high school. Like my team does that, we love it. This is not the same. So I think for this, you could even have some, like one of my photos the other week, I was holding like a world map, so there's like a close-ups of like a map or something like that, or it could be, where you have a hat, or it's like the back of your head, or like a detail, or like a close-up of your hand writing something, or there's a ton of different ways that you can show you as a person and you as a personality without it just being like smiling at the camera, smiling again, smiling for the third time. Like,
And actually, that's a good point too to bring up. Like a good brand photographer knows how to showcase your brand in other ways that is just you smiling.
yes, exactly. And I think that's kind of where it comes to the relationship with, finding a brand photographer who you connect with and is going to guide you along the experience. So for us, for example, we have a decent amount of information on the website, so you can hopefully get a sense. Do you like the photos? Do you like the vibe? Do you connect? Okay, reach out. I always like to start with a short call just to kind of be like, who are you? What do you want? What's important to you? And then I also start to get a bit of the personality. So then, I mean, logistics wise, then I can suggest, okay, I think this photo and video collection would be best because of XYZ, and here's a couple other options. We hop on a second call, kind of lock it in. And then as soon as they sign, then I send them a link to a questionnaire, which they know is going to be coming. So that is a chance for them to sit down and like answer questions about who they are as a brand. Go ahead and use Whisperflow, the nice little AI plugin, and just talk about who you are. Send me, like, make a Pinterest board. I'll have some, and I also try to like meet clients where they are. Like, yes, I would love if every single person filled out my nice little form, linked me the Pinterest board, and bada bing, bada boom, we do the final planning call. But also some people are more texters, so they want to just send me random screenshots of, I like this person's feed. So, I'm kind of like collecting this information from them. So then when we're on our final planning call and we're like double checking like locations, models, outfits, props, all these types of things, I can kind of pull together everything that they're saying. So for example, I had a client last year who was like, I love color, I love bright, I love vibrant. I'm like, fun, okay, I love this. She sends me the Pinterest board, literally all neutrals. And I'm thinking, okay, we can go either way. We can even blend them. But, on the call, then I was able to say, hey, you told me you liked colors, but what I'm seeing is more neutrals. Yeah. Just kind of talk me through it. So then I'm able to sense those trends, or I'm seeing, maybe there's a ton of a certain kind of pose, or, and ideally, hopefully people are making the mood board of people who look like them, both like body shape and size, age, race, however you want to define it. Like, yeah, your mood board doesn't be only you, but if you're 60 and your whole mood board is a bunch of 25-year-olds, like there's kind of a disconnect. So I think all that to say, I'm able to observe all those different things and then kind of like piece it together. And then also, that's also a great chance for me to set expectations, to say, okay, I love these things. I'm noticing a lot. A recent client sent me a whole mood board that was all in like the Southwest desert. And I was like, I love this so much. Also, we are looking at doing a studio in Minneapolis. So I can recommend this one plant shop studio for these reasons. It is going to look different, but here's an example of a shoot I did there. And this is why I think this could be part of bringing your vision to life. And she's moving to the Southwest. So that was like the inspiration. And so I was like, okay. And then, later this fall, I can come to you and we can do more of this type of the version. So then I'm also like planting seeds of like, hey, we're going to start here, but this is going to be a continuous relationship. So whether that's like a quarterly photo and video session, twice a year, whatever it is, but like we're starting somewhere and then we're going to continue that journey together.
That's it. This is almost like bringing a photo to your hairstylist and they're like, love it. But that's, it's like not any representation of you. They're like, they have different hair, different like skin tone, different eye color. And I'm like, oh,
exactly.
Yeah, okay.
But I'm sure wedding planners are familiar with that. Like they'll show you like the cover of Vogue and they're like, I want this. And you're like, hey, you're getting married at your local community center. So it is going to look different, but let's talk through the specifics and maybe there's some elements we can pull through.
Yeah. Like your whole floral budget is the cost of that arch. So.
Exactly. But I think those are good conversations to have because it's like, it's like validating and encouraging. Okay, you have a great eye. I love these things. Also, here are things that we can pull out and bring it to life. But it's also setting expectations, because you would be doing a total disservice if they show you the cover of Vogue and, you know, an Italian villa, and you're like, perfect, we'll do it. You can't, you know, if you're not there. So I think that's just like good expectation setting, and that's going to help the client feel good throughout the process, and also they're going to be happier with the final product as well.
Mycah, what do you keep in mind for clients who approach you in that manner? And it's like, okay, well, our end goal is obviously to get a brand photo shoot that's turning potential clients into paying clients, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
from your expertise, like what are you communicating to your clients or like doing within a session to make sure that those brand photos in the end are helping them to turn potential customers into paying clients?
Yeah, I think again that kind of gets back to like the brand questionnaire or the series of conversations that I'm having with them, because I'm like, who is your ideal client? A woman I worked with the other week, her ideal client are healthcare executives, and she coaches them how to be on camera. Okay, love it.
There is literally a job out there for
Yes,
everyone.
exactly. And I'm like, do I know about healthcare executives? Not really, but I know people who work in healthcare. I can have a sense that they're probably going to be like a little more buttoned up. So she said that she was drawn to my work because it's a little, I don't know, it's just like a little bit more
Modern.
fun and funky and like very empowering and feminine and a little bit out there. So she was like, I really like that. And also I can't take some of those risks, but I don't want this to just be like a headshot against a great backdrop. So that was like a fun challenge for me. It was helpful that she already like saw the gap. And then that was a fun creative challenge for me to kind of like draw it in and say, okay, I'm going to recommend this location for these reasons. And I think we could go with these colors and outfits for these reasons. And then even when it comes to posing, like, okay, we can try this because it's like, it's going to catch someone's eye, because these healthcare executives, no offense, all the other photos and all the other potential coaches they're looking at are going to be really, really boring photos. So it's going to be easier for her to stand out in a way that's like, she's professional, but also she's got a personality and like a little bit more like pizzazz, but still within the like constraints of what she was doing. So I think it's just getting clear on who you're trying to communicate to and like what are they looking for, because every business owner is, number one, the best expert on themselves as a person, and also a great expert on them, like their business and their clients. So I think being able to ask the questions to pull that out is really, really helpful. So then we can, again, create photos that connect with more of their right ideal clients.
And I'm guessing on the flip side of this, like a mistake that maybe some wedding pros are making about their brand photos, in the sense that something they're doing that maybe is turning away clients, kind of what you said, or maybe it's just not hitting the mark. I'm going to go ahead and take a guess that that if the brand photos are too generic,
Mm-hmm.
it's probably something, right? They're not showing enough personality. What else have you kind of experienced in that sense?
Yeah, I think too generic. I think, or I think also trying to copy somebody else and
Mm.
see another brand or another business owner that you admire, which is amazing. And there is definitely room to draw inspiration from other people. But again, each person is the only them. So yeah, bring inspiration in. If this other person, is always wearing fun colors and you've never worn anything that's not black, okay, that could be a fun personal challenge to buy or borrow one piece of something, or maybe just a little necklace with a little color. And then you take another step and see if you like it. And if you don't, keep wearing all black. Like, you can do it. You can do whatever you want to do, but like lean into who you are and who you're serving, because that's going to help you connect with those people. Like, you're trying to connect with your people, not another person's people.
Mm-hmm. And Mycah, how do you suggest that clients use their branding photos across all platforms, like website, social media? Because I think sometimes I mean, Gabby and I haven't done updated photos for our podcast in like a year, but sometimes I'm like, man, everyone's seen this photo a million times. Also, that's probably just in my head because, like, you know, you look at the same photos.
Yeah.
I'm curious, like, is there like a follow-up of like, hey, here's your brand photos. Do you have suggestions for clients on how to integrate that into their business to best serve them and to gain those potential clients?
I think usually people have like something that they know they for sure, like I have to update my website or my Instagram posts are so outdated. So they're usually coming to me because of one specific need that they know they have. But then I think in addition to that, there's just really infinite uses, you know, whether it's like a podcast, you know, icon or a header for an email list, or you're speaking somewhere and you need to send in a headshot, but you don't want it to be a boring LinkedIn headshot. You want it to be memorable in some way. So I think having that bank of images is super nice. So it's like you have what you know you need and you have what you don't even know yet that you need. And then as far as you're thinking about like, oh, we've been using these same photos. I mean, yes, but also then that's going to be memorable in some ways. And also probably no one is paying as close attention to us as we are paying to our own selves. And I think additionally, along with that, I like a lot of times when I'm working with people, we're doing like a half day or a full day. So we are getting a wide variety of different outfits for that goal of like, no, I'm not going to take every photo of you in the same shirt, because then every photo of you is going to be in the exact same shirt. So even if you maybe are doing a shorter session, I think there's still room to like switch it up a little bit in some way. Or maybe it is time to update photos. I don't know. I think there's like a lot of different ways to do it, but I think ultimately having fresh images is just a really easy way to look like more cohesive, put together, and like have that brand cohesion across like all platforms.
Yeah.
Yeah. How often do people like? How often does the same brand hire you for new photos? Or the
I
same
would
person?
say, depending on the company, there's some who come. I mean, there's occasionally some that come once a month. Those are usually going to be a little bit more like product specific or bigger teams. I would say once a quarter, semi-common, twice a year, or at very minimum once a year is probably the most common. Just because, you know, once your photos are 2, maybe 3 years old, like that is old. You've changed, your business has changed, things have evolved. And I think it's partially about like, yes, you do want to look like your photos. I think we've all, you know, met with someone online and then or you've come across their work online and then you meet them in person and it's a jump scare. Like that's not serving your clients well. Like, oh my word, I would have literally never recognized you. Like that's not a good first impression. Because I mean, okay, that happened to me recently. In her defense, we were meeting to talk about updated brand photos, so she knew she had a need.
Fair.
But I mean, I think that created a sense of like, I almost didn't trust her because she looked so different than how she was presenting herself online. It was catfishing. I'm like, this is not you. How am I supposed to trust if you can't even show me literally what you look like? How am I supposed to believe you and like invest in your services? Like I can't, because I don't think you're trustworthy. So I think there's a lot of layers to it. But yeah, I mean, I would say for most business owners, like a minimum of once a year, I think is good to just get a little refresh.
Yeah.
That's a good point. I wouldn't even thought of that, but I have seen that happen so often where like their LinkedIn photo or their profile, the little photo up on Instagram is something from a really long time ago. If
Yeah.
even just changing your hair color, like that's
Totally.
simple, it really changes who you are. But I didn't even think about it on a trust level, but that is legit, because your clients, you don't want them to be surprised if you are completely different.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I was even thinking how I have some like older photos where I'm like, I don't feel like I look that different, but like my hair is really short and I'm like, oh, you know, like that's such a good point about the trust level, because in our minds we're not like, well, we're not trying to deceive anybody, but you're like thinking it's like you don't look that different, when in reality you're like, oh, I've changed a lot over the years. So I feel like that's a really great point for people to get their photos updated.
Yeah, and I think a lot of times people hesitate. I was actually at a long call with a friend who owns a business this morning, and we were talking about, you know, people's hesitation to get in front of the camera, whether that's, you know, investing in a brand video and photo shoot, or even just like we were talking about earlier, talking to the camera. And I think a lot of times, especially I've noticed women business owners are trying to hide, and they don't want to become visible. And I think that's not only a disservice to yourself, but I think it's really honestly a disservice to any of your potential clients, because if you don't like believe in what you're doing enough to literally just show up and like be your actual self, then you're connecting with less people, so you're serving less people. And if you believe what you do is meaningful and creating like an incredible experience, then you're providing a disservice to all those people that you can't serve because you're hiding.
Yeah. And it's actually always feel very empowered on a brand shoot because I only do them every few years. I hire a hair and makeup person. I get a curated wardrobe from Newly or something to make sure that it's like brand colors are represented, or it's like my best self is represented, even though on the day to day I may be wearing a t-shirt and no makeup. But yeah, I find them to be very empowering, and the right photographer will make you feel that way on your shoot, you know? And there's words of encouragement that are happening, and they'll show you the back of the camera like, oh my God, look at this one. This is so good, you know? And I think that really, really helps make you feel easy. Maybe there's music, maybe, you know, a bottle of champagne if that's what you need. But it, yeah, I really have always enjoyed. And Kari, you and I, like when we've done our shoots, we've laughed the whole time, and it's hysterical, and we have a great time doing it. But yes, I do find them very empowering.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, switching gears a little bit, because this is what if you catch the YouTube version of this podcast, you will see that we had a little bit of technical issues, and so Mycah and I chatted a little bit about this already, but I think we need to talk about this some more because there's so many questions that I have. But something very interesting about you, Mycah, is that you have a full-on remote international team. Like, we're talking overseas. You have met them in person, which is something I want to talk about. But tell us more about how your team is structured and what the day-to-day communication is with them, because there's a huge time difference too. And just like, tell us everything about this overseas team.
Yes, I love my team. All of my current team members are based in the Philippines, and I have had a wonderful experience. I've learned a lot, and I've made a lot of mistakes along the way. So I've had my first person I hired about 3.5 years ago. And at first it was, 10 hours a week assistant. My first overseas person was, 10 hours a week assistant. Very quickly grew to 20, and then relatively quickly I moved to full time. So fast forward a couple of years, so she is really my right-hand person. She does, emails, contracts, invoices, website updates, every kind of all of the like admin type of thing, and really kind of keeps the business moving forward on the day-to-day basis. Then I have a part-time marketing person. She's been with me for almost a year. That role I probably had realistically the hardest time. I've had the most hires and fires within that role. And I think what I've learned through that is setting very, very clear expectations in the job description about what you want, what you're looking for. Then in like the interview process. So my current version of what I do is I have, a Google form people fill out. And on that, I ask them to record a 1 to 2 minute video saying who they are and why they would be a great addition to the team. So anyone who's mass applying and doesn't do it, don't even waste my time. Second of all, if I'm bored by their video, why would I want to work with them? Or if their video is like all about them and not what they're bringing to the table, again, easy no. So then that really, really helps, because I'd been on a handful of interviews where I'm like, there was at least 1 or 2 where I had stopped it partway, and I said, I honestly don't know what we're doing here, so I'm gonna end this interview now, because it was just so bad. And I'm like, I am done wasting my time in this regard. So that was a learning lesson for me, because I'm like, how did they get to that point if they were so clearly not aligned? I cannot blame somebody else. I need to take responsibility and figure out what I'm going to do differently. And then now I have that process. Then we narrow it down. We'll do a short interview. Then this is key. A small paid test project, I think, is absolutely essential. And give the amount of detail that you would realistically want to do. So yeah, you have to be clear and you have to give them the right resources on like what you want them to do and how you want them to do it. But also, if you don't want to hold someone's hand like every single second of every single day, there needs to be like a little, like enough information to succeed. But they also, like, if you want someone who's going to like engage some critical thinking and problem solving, there needs to be opportunity for them to showcase that in their paid test project. And then we'll follow up with another interview for the top candidates. And that now involves some other people on my team. But if you're just by yourself, ask a business owner friend or literally just a friend to sit there with you and get another perspective, or record the transcript and put it into cloud and ask for analysis, like that kind of thing. There's so many tools and resources now. I don't think there's no reason to make these poor hires that I had done over the years. So I think, and then the other way that I've definitely improved over the years is the beginning, and really making sure it's very clear communication, very clear training, and very clear regular feedback. So I give feedback like probably every single day. Like, all right, these are the things. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Love this. Thank you. Amazing. This is not what I meant here. Could you please do this? Actually, I don't like this. Whatever it is, because if you're not providing feedback, so that's another area that I have definitely failed in the past, is just kind of like assuming that someone's doing what they said.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. And Mycah, what made you sort of like find people internationally? Because obviously there's like a time difference and things like that. So I feel like that would be hard for me to navigate, instead of like finding someone locally who like maybe you could meet up with in person. Like, what was sort of your decision making on that?
Yeah, I think there's so many options. So what works for me may not work for somebody else. I tried for the first time because I had a friend who had a VA in the Philippines and she had a great experience. So I'm like, all right, let me try it out. And as far as the time difference, yeah, it is a very significant time difference. But I think again that just comes down to communicating. So I have five people who work with me in the Philippines, and they honestly all work slightly different hours, which I don't know if I would recommend, but I also don't know if I have a problem with that, you know? So some of them work their daytime, some of them work my daytimes, some of them fluctuate in between. So I think, again, that just comes down to like communication and expectations and figuring out what you actually want. So if you want someone to work 9 to 5 with you, then like your US time, then put that in the job description and say, hey, this is non-negotiable. Okay, there's someone who's going to do it. So I think just setting very clear expectations is super helpful. And then I think on the logistical front, the US dollar definitely goes further in the Philippines. So that has allowed me to hire at like a faster rate for like the size of my companies, which has been really exciting. And then also, you know, provide job opportunities for 5 people instead of, I don't know what the equivalent would have been here, but less than 5. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely not for everyone. And there is a lot of managing communication back and forth. So I don't know. I would say start small and just see what you think. But I think the more that you can be very clear on expectations and communication, the happier everyone's going to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's been so interesting. I have a VA who is in the Philippines, and I've had her for, gosh, maybe not quite 2 years, but getting there. And I think you're right, Mycah. What I have not done well enough is the immediate and constant feedback on every little thing. And I really think kind of what we were talking about earlier is the time it takes to delegate a task is very overwhelming to someone who is like a planner, who we have been so used to taking on a lot of it ourselves and doing it ourselves. And we know it so well that we're like, I'm just going to do it myself. It'll take 2 minutes. It'll be done. But all of these little 2 minutes throughout the day add up to like 3 hours that I could have been doing higher ticket tasks like finding new clients, getting on preferred vendor lists, doing site tours, whatever, or actual client work. And so I'm really like, this conversation is just reinforcing for me that I love my girl. When she does the job well, she does it really well. And I'll be frank, it is a quarter of the price it would be for me to then hiring someone in the US. And I'm not saying don't support the local economy, but like you said, Mycah, we can I can afford, as a small business, I can afford to get more people to help and then grow from there. And then of course my lead planners are going to be US, lead planners, but I can't afford to have a $45 an hour admin person here in the US, And so it's really this kind of divide, but giving her more feedback and being clearer. It's not like we're being mean about it. We have to set those expectations. We have to really have clear boundaries. And I also understand that I've always told her, I said, if you find a better way to do it, I'm open to hearing about that, because they're in it. They're going to be in these tasks all day. So she might have a tool, or she might find a better way to do something that I'm like, that's brilliant. I didn't even think about that. Let's do it your way.
Yeah, and I think along with that, thinking about, I mean, right now I'm with my person who's been with me the longest. Her and I are we're kind of doing like a 2-part annual review. So we did like the first part last week, and then the rest of it's later this week. And we've been having conversations where we were like, okay, what she's doing now is completely different than when she started with me 3 years ago. And I told her, and what you'll be doing in a year will be completely different than what you're doing today. In fact, if you're doing the same thing today in a year, that means you probably don't have a future here, because if you're not continuously like working yourself out of a job and finding new ways to do something, like to serve our clients better, more strategically, faster, like utilizing AI to the max. Like I'm very, very obsessed with AI. I find it very life and business changing. And because of that, the people on my team are required to spend, depending on if they're part-time or full-time, multiple hours a week of time that I'm paying them to learn AI from a class that I paid. So like I'm investing very heavily in my team.
I love this.
Could they quit at any time? Yeah, they could. But
yeah,
I hope they don't. And if they do, they're going to be smarter than when they started,
Yeah.
So like just thinking about these things and really like investing, like I think about a lot. Okay, what would I want? Like if I was in their shoes, what would make this a fun and interesting job? Oh, probably to continue to learn more skills. So then they can, do more and advocate for a raise later. Great, would love it. Or whenever they're ready to do something else, have a better resume for whatever is next for them. So to me, it's not about like, get these tasks done and check it off a list and do it just for me. It's like, how can we come together and work as a team? And then also getting to know each person and how are they motivated? Like one person is very motivated by like a quarterly bonus structure that we have going on. One person is like, don't care. I just want to raise once a year. That's great. So just kind of getting to know people and what they care about has been hard and worth it.
Yeah. I feel like you talking about like you investing in your team is really helpful. And I assume for you, like making sure everyone's sort of on the same page to like keep that cohesiveness, right? Whether it's like your brand story or just like how you're communicating with clients. How do you approach that to make sure like one assistant isn't speaking a different language in terms of like your brand identity?
Yeah, so they all have very specific roles. Like we really try to have pretty little crossover in between different projects. But then again, since we're leaning into AI so heavily, like I have, a brand story cloud project. So it's like that is like the source of truth. That's where I'm putting in like every podcast transcript in there. So they're getting stories. They know like what's the updated content. So they should be able to pretty easily create content that sounds exactly like me, because it's filled with like, I don't even know how many hours of me yapping about random things. So it's like, it's going to sound like me if they're prompting well. And then as far as kind of like team cohesion, we do a weekly call with the whole team. And then I do one-on-ones. So right now our structure is we do a 30-minute full team call followed by 15-minute one-on-ones. We did longer ones before, but this is nice right now. And then we'll add in kind of like a 1-hour check-in as needed. But it's like enough to kind of touch base, but not be like ideally there's not that much to say because we use Google Chat, so we're messaging throughout to kind of stay focused. And then the biggest investment I made is I flew my entire team to an island on the Philippines back in January.
You flew them there. I knew you flew there, but I
know
you guys all went somewhere.
Yeah. So I picked an island. Actually, it was really fun. Even from the beginning, I kind of like mentioned it to one person and she was into it. So then I kind of floated it by the team. So we essentially planned it together. I asked them, okay, what would make this a win for you? Okay, so we like worked together. We found the island that collectively everyone wanted. Like got a sense of, I know definitely some of the people are very introverted and obviously they've never met me or anyone else, so it could be very intimidating. So like I planned it very intentionally, knowing each person, what were their goals, and really the top goal for me was to build this like team cohesion, because again, I'm like, if people are going to stay even 1 year longer than they would have because they feel connected with me and each other, that's a huge win business wise. And also obviously the goal is that they're like care more and are going to be a little bit more invested. So yes, of course there was like a business agenda in that regard, but I think we did like an hour and a half of goal setting and chit chatting, and we talked about like atomic habits and things like that. But most of the time was like we like went on a private boat ride and went out for dinners, and they like did some activities by themselves without me, and it was super fun. And I also like paired people up in rooms based on like how I thought they would vibe, and also again like all these communications with them. So it was a really really fun special time, and also just like obviously a huge energy and financial investment. And I feel like that was I feel very happy with how that went down, and I definitely hope to do that again.
That's freaking amazing, Mycah. And I'm so impressed with how you have, I know you've said you've learned a lot about, you've made some mistakes and you've had some fires and hires, but you are doing such a good job at putting together like the organization of the tasks and what everyone needs to do, from the job description to the feedback and all that kind of stuff. But you're also really, really thinking about your team culture and creating that bond. And I think that's really hard to do, especially with an international team. So that's amazing. I feel like you should, if you don't already, you should be educating on this specifically. Like this is it. I don't know many people who talk about this, and I just find this really, really incredible.
Yeah, maybe I should. I feel like people then want me to hire for them, and I'm like, that's a hard no.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's on you.
No, that's so tough.
Mycah, this has been such a good conversation. I guess like two-part question, since I know we talked about two different topics, but do you have a piece of advice on, let's start with hiring a team. Like what would be like, if someone is like, I know I'm ready to scale, but they're afraid to dive into that, what would be like your biggest piece of advice on scaling a team?
I would say start small. Start with someone literally 5 hours a week. Think of just a couple of quick things that you could explain. You could record a Loom video and say, hey, this is what I want done. And just start there. Do it for a month or two. Maybe even tell the person, hey, I don't know if I want to do this for sure, but would you be willing to try it out? That could be someone local. It could be someone overseas, whatever you want. And just see if you like it and see what you learn and continue from there. It doesn't need to be starting with like multiple full-time people.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say start small.
It's like dip your toe in the water a little bit
Mm-hmm.
and get it wet.
Mm-hmm.
Because I will say, like, okay, as someone who has done this, and again, I just have this one person. That's not true. I have two. I have a video editor for YouTube, but the financial investment is small. Like you pay, there are website platforms that you can pay a monthly membership to have access to post your link. And I'm sure, Mycah, you have a bunch of other tools too, but the one I used was like $60 for the month. And you can post as many job postings as you want for all sorts of different roles. And you can take the full 30 days to interview people, go back and forth, do the sample project, and then you can cancel your membership and work with the people you have. And like you said, 5 hours a week, and the hourly rates are less than in the US, depending on what you're looking for. And so the financial investment, it's a very low risk in my opinion. And then if you do a trial period with this person, it lasts 6 months, but then all of a sudden it's really not working out, then you can resubscribe to the website and reactivate your post, right? And then just see who else comes in. Like I found it to be, very low risk in that sense.
I agree.
Yeah. And then final question, Mycah, in terms of like brand photography, what is like a good piece of advice for people who, like Gabby said, some pros are like afraid of showing up or like updating their photos and like being in front of the camera. And I think we all know like you have to show up to keep your business afloat and like showing your face on photo, video, online. So what would you say to encourage someone in that realm?
Yeah, I would say I firmly believe the world is a better place when money is in the hands of more women, and that's only going to be possible when women and business owners are visible. And so if you want to be visible, you have to show up. So ultimately, I think it's really an invitation to not only like step into who you are and what you offer, but an invitation to really serve the people that you say you care about and say you want to serve. Okay, then meet more of them and do it. So I think when you think about it that way, then it feels a little bit less about like yourself and a photo or video of yourself, and more of like an invitation to get visible and connect with more amazing clients.
Yeah. And I think, like you said earlier, like, I think working with someone like you who is like, this is their specialty, like Gabby was saying, like, I leave feeling like empowered and like just like really good about your business. And I think that's also key, right? Like, don't just go hire someone who's a photographer and like they don't really know brand photos, because I think you can help make that session such a key part of like kind of boosting self-esteem and confidence in their business.
Absolutely.
Oh, this was so good, Mycah. Thank you so much. And thanks for being patient with us with the tech issues. I think the YouTubers are going to have a blast watching the behind the scenes on this one.
I pop in and out a couple of times.
Yeah. Okay, Mycah, we're going to link everything but in the show notes, but where can people find you? What's the best way to connect with you?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram, Mycah Bain Photo, Mycah, and yeah, would love to send me a DM, tell me what you thought, and I'm here to bounce around ideas and support you on your journey.
I love it. I always love watching your stories. They're very, very entertaining. So I highly recommend everyone subscribe to my
Oh, thank you.
And now we know you're gardening, so we need to obviously see the garden progression.
Yes, yes.
Love it. Well, thank you, Jabbers, for being here. We will be back next week with another episode, and we will see you then. Bye.
Bye.